This is Keith with How to Build Your Own Home. I want to talk about just electrical inside the kitchen. The kitchen is probably the Bermuda Triangle of a build oftentimes because there's so much happening, so much design, so much input, a lot of things. So I just wanted to go over electrical so you can actually be prepared for that. We can start over here. That typically you have different types of voltage in a kitchen. This here is a low volt, which is not really low volt. This is high volt, but this is a 15 amp circuit. And this here is for a switch for lighting, under cabinet lighting, etc. We've got right here some low voltage for under cabinet lighting. And this is sticking out exactly where the cabinet installer wants them to stick out. One of these, this one down here, is going to go over here for under cabinet lighting, and this one here is going to go for some floating shelves. And I have some ideas on that. There's a lot of strip lighting you can use for under cabinet lighting. We've got some strip lighting that we want to install inside and underneath the cabinets and underneath the floating shelves. But something I'm thinking about with my cabinet installer is that I don't want it just sticking on top, on the bottom of that. I actually want him to dowel blade and cut in a little trough on the back, on the underside of that floating shelf, so the lighting actually shoots down, but you don't see the lighting. So I'm working with him on that. But at least he told us exactly where he wants those plugged out. We've got another one over here, another floating shelf here, and we've got another under cabinet lighting feature here. These actually typically have a transformer that they're hooked up to, which will be over there in our little box over there in the mechanical room. I can show you that here in just a second. Then we've got our Gfi circuit, which is our 20 amp circuit, which is your 12-2 wire right here. This here is our 14-2 wire. This is 12-2 wire. This here is for your plugging your outlets and miscellaneous in. You want a larger gauge wire for that, and that goes all the way across over here. We've got some power for our hood. We've got a really nice hood that we're installing, and we just loop that in because we don't know exactly where that's going to be. I've spent some time out here with my cabinet installer. We don't know. It's within 10 to 14 inches up in this area here. And we've got several shelves in there, so we just have it looped in there so we know exactly where. And I'll paint the ground so I know where all these lines are. And then we've got power for the stove. This here's for your dishwasher and disposal. And over here, some more lines over here, which is actually your underground line, which goes in a pipe there, and it comes up over here. And this is going to be for the island, and that's direct bury. Now keep in mind, a lot of jurisdictions are really different with regard to wiring. I think it's in Illinois, they require, I can't remember what state back east, but they require all of their lines to be inside conduit. Well, we don't have that kind of a restriction. And so, even though this is direct bury, it could be buried in the ground, it has to be inside a conduit as well. So anyway, when it comes to electrical in the kitchen, take some time with that. Exactly where you want some lighting. Is it low voltage? Is it high voltage? Where do you want your switches? This here is an area where I've seen the most mistakes in a home, is because they don't take some time to think about really what they want. You've got to get your cabinet guy here, have him talk exactly with your electricians while they're here, and if they're communicating, you can get everything lined out the way you want, specifically for the kitchen.